Okay, hi everybody. This is a response to a few requests asking me to explain how I produce this HDR image of an area of Newcastle called the Quayside. And I'd just like to explain how I've done this. It's a work that I've produced in HDR. So I'll go through the process of how I've done it. You may find your own ways to do it, but at least I think I'd like to pass on a few things that I've learned from doing this over the last few years. When I took this shot, I produced 3 exposures of the same shot. So this is 1 stop under, this is 1 stop over, and this is the kind of regular medium exposure. So these 3 shots here that I'm flicking through now, what I'm going to do is combine them. I lay them on top of each other, or rather the software does that, and that's what HDR actually is. It lays the 3 shots together. So, and I'm going to use software called Photomatix Pro to do the HDR, and this is a plugin that you can buy, and I actually like it because it deals very well with light trails. I also occasionally use the HDR software in Photoshop CS6, but I found that Photoshop's HDR, although it's really good, it doesn't deal with light trails very well. So in this case, because I have quite a few light trails, I'm going to use Photomatix Pro. So the way that I do that then is to select these three shots down here, and then I open up the Photomatix Pro with the plugin extras, so I'm exporting that now. This brings up this screen here, which is the Photomatix Pro, so I'm aligning the images. All these are basically, most of this comes, these are already clicked automatically, and I like these. I like to reduce the ghosting artifacts myself, and I'm going to use the deghosting tool, which I'll show you, and then automatically re-import it. So click on export, and then Photomatix Pro does its bit of magic as it combines these 3 images. Just usually takes a few seconds to do this. The activity here, time for a drink of your tea or coffee. Okay, so as you can see, it's aligning the images, producing this in Photomatix Pro. Now, if you look down here, there are different lines, and I think that it's best for me that I take out some of these lines because there's too many when they're overlaid on top of each other. You can experiment to see what you feel, but for me, I don't like it, and I think one of the problems is when you lay light trails on top of each other is that they start to become discolored. So I'm going to select this area with the light trails and use the deghosting tool. And another thing that I've learned is because the lights are overlaid on top of each other, remember there's 3 shots combined here, they're just too intense in the final HDR. So I'm going to deghost those lights as well. And the way that you deghost is you simply hold down the mouse, and I'm going around the areas of intense light and light trails down here by the road. I'm going to do the light trails. So all this area which is light trails and intense lights, I'm encircling with this, and I press Control, mark the selected areas ghosted, and then I'm also going to select this area here where you've got some very intense lights. The whole area there, in fact I could go around there as well, that one. The whole area there, again Control, mark selected area, and then once I've done that I can click OK. I'm going to crop this bottom half, bottom third of the shot out, so I'm not going to do anything down there. So click OK, and then it does some work on the ghosted areas, and then merges the three shots now into HDR. And it's always an interesting moment when this HDR image then appears on your screen as if by magic. Here it comes any second now. It just takes a few seconds. So that's the HDR image. We're in Photomatix Pro, as you can see here. You've got different presets over here, and I usually go with default, and because one of the things to remember is that you can import this HDR image back into Lightroom, which I normally do. And if you look at the light trails on there, you can see that they're quite nice. These down here, so I'm quite happy with that. What I'm doing is I'm tone mapping on this one, which brings out the detail. So I've selected tone mapping here, and I make sure that the strength is always at 100. The lighting adjustments, I usually go for natural plus because I feel that that gives me the best lighting. These can be adjusted later, but I prefer to do this in a Photomatix Pro. So this is fine. I'm going to import it back now into Lightroom. So I'll save and re-import, and this should then come up in Lightroom, which it hasn't. So I'm going to go and get it in my there it is there. So I'm going to drag that to Lightroom, and here it is. That's the HDR, so I'm importing that now into Lightroom so I can open it up. Now this is my HDMR file, and what I'm going to do here is if I just zoom in, you can see the detail is quite fantastic really. But if I look at this, I can see there's a little bit of noise in the sky, and I don't like there's too much empty area down here for my liking, so I'm going to crop it. So the first thing I do is I'm going to develop. This is now, I'm going to crop first. I usually crop my images first. I'm going to bring that down a little bit just to enhance the bridge more. And I'm going to take this out, so I'm going to bring that up to, yeah, around about there. Say that's done. And one of the first things I do when night shots is I bring down the highlights, bring them down to maybe minus 39, something like that, and then increase the shadows just to bring out some of those lighter areas. And I usually give it quite a lot of clarity, maybe around plus 55, something like that, plus 50, and it's already starting to look quite pretty nice. I'm going to give it a little bit more vibrancy and go further down into the tone curve. Again, I bring down the highlights, increase the lights, really intense. You can see the difference there as the lights begin to glow, so it gives it that kind of warm street feel. I'm going to increase the darkness a little bit, just so those darks, and again increase the shadows so that it's a little bit brighter. Then what I'll do is I'll go down to sharpening, so I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit, just to make it even sharper than it is. And because I've got some what's it called? I've got some I've got some noise. That's the word. I've got some noise up here. So the best thing that I've got for this in terms of software is Topaz. So I go into my Topaz. This is also a plugin, and open up Topaz Denoise, which is a fantastic piece of software. So there's the Denoise right there. Open that up, and this, then you can see there the noise. And if you actually watch what happens now, I just increase the strength. I'll do it a little bit more. It's almost taken away. all the noise. Really quite amazing, and I'm going to increase the detail, recover some of those details. I don't want it to be too smooth. That should be fine. I'll import that now back into Lightroom. So some of that noise, all that noise up in the sky there, will now in a moment disappear once this plugin has processed the image. If you just watch that area in the sky there in particular, you should be able to see that transformation, which is quite remarkable, I think. Let's see, almost done. Just takes a second. There we go. Maybe you saw the difference in the sky there, but it's really nice now. The noise is gone. Just looking at this image again, I can come out and I've seen that there's a wall here on the left. I'm going to crop that out. You can do some more cropping at this stage. Otherwise that's already looking quite nice. Maybe bring down the sky a little bit as well there. I'm going to darken the sky a little bit, I think. So I'll use my gradient tool to drag down a little bit and create just lower the exposure on that, like that. Looks a little bit more natural. I'm going to increase the clarity on the bottom because it's a little bit, maybe a little bit too pale down here. I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting by increasing the clarity, dropping a little bit of the exposure. There we go. And I'm going to lighten now that area here. I'm going to really bring some of the details out here. So I paint with this area here. I'll do the same here. Maybe those chimneys there. Increase the clarity on those just a little bit with the exposure. That should be fine. And I think I can increase the clarity a little bit more on that one, and the shadows a little bit. Again, bring down some of the highlights. And if we then go out, if you've actually got some quite amazing details there. The bridge, which is that nice green color, I'm going to bring out some of that green now. I can do that by choosing to saturate a little bit and giving it more luminance. There's two types of green in Lightroom. I'll use them both like that. Really brings out the green color in the bridge. The reds of the light trails as well could bring those out. So I just click on this red color here and a bit more luminance. So I've really brought out the reds. Otherwise, I think that's pretty good. So that's how I've gone from those three shots to this quite nice HDR image. Thanks for watching.